On May the 5th, a letter was dropped off, personally hand-delivered to this building, an open letter from the Hassan Diab Support Committee asking for Mr. Trudeau to urgently meet with Rania, who is here today, as well as other members of this support committee. He also received a letter from the former Secretary General of Amnesty International, Roger Clark. Roger Clark, no stranger to human rights abuses when he sees them, writes, "I have rarely seen a case that so glaringly calls out for the intervention of the Canadian government. We firmly believe that a meeting with key members of Dr. Diab's support group would not only clarify any questions you might have, but also lead to the development of a multi-pronged strategy to not only win Dr. Diab bail, but also bring him home where he belongs." Before our next speaker, I want to do a quick shout out to somebody for doing that. When Hassan was released on very strict house arrest bail conditions, someone who also lived under those restrictive bail conditions and had to pay $2,000 a month to have Hassan live in that house arrest is Rania.
I would like to thank you very much for being here today. I also would like to thank Don Bain, Hassan's lawyer, and Hassan's support committee, who work with amazing dedication, energy, and hope. I also would like to thank very much NDP MP Don Davis for speaking at the vigil as well as for hosting the event this afternoon. I always like to read some of Hassan's words because since he was extradited, he's rarely seen or heard. He spends his days swinging between prayer and despair, alone over 20 hours per day in a tiny cell and thousands of miles away from his family and home. And this is what he says in his most recent letter. "Another tough night with little time to sleep. It's because of the latest shock. I stayed in cell all morning repeating or cloning other days. They are same days with a new sorrow. I didn't call you or the children again. It's hurtful when I think of them. I feel I lost them for good, or they lost me perhaps. Finally, I gathered my strength and with enough emotional control, I was able to phone you. I felt sorry for the ordeal I put you and everyone else in. I wanted to calm your anxiety so that you know I'm still alive at least. I started reorganizing my put-away stuff to unpack as if I'm staying here for good. Hassan did not fall from the sky into a French prison. The Canadian government sent him there. They extradited him, being fully aware that a Canadian extradition judge described the evidence against him as very problematic and suspect. The Canadian government extradited him with full knowledge that there is forensic evidence that exonerates him. The Canadian government is still not helping Hassan, even though they know that the French investigative judges said that there is consistent evidence that Hassan is innocent and that he was ordered released 6 times in 1 year. The Canadian government... Shame! The Canadian government has a moral obligation to intervene in Hassan's case, and so far they have not. If I may ask each one of you to call your MPs, the Ministers of Justice, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Prime Minister today and every day, so that they take the plight of Hassan seriously and get him out of jail and back to his family and his home. Thank you.
Thank you, Rania. It's my understanding that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is a visual learner. So I'd like you all to put up your hands because we're going to do a little bit of visual learning for the Prime Minister. The fingerprints of Hassan Diab do not match the fingerprints of the suspect. The palm prints of Hassan Diab do not match the palm prints of the suspect. The physical description, a little bit of yoga here, the physical description of the suspect does not match Hassan Diab's. The handwriting of the suspect does not match Hassan Diab's. Are we getting there, Mr. Prime Minister? In 1980, at the time of the bombing, Hassan Diab was in Lebanon, as confirmed by the investigative judges in France. I think it's time that they open this door to Rania for a meeting. We're going to get one right now. We got our date books, Rania. Let's see if we can get a meeting. So we're coming up to the Prime Minister. Can you put that pen right there? So we're just putting the call in the Prime Minister. Hi, we're here to follow up on an urgent matter regarding a Canadian who was wrongfully detained overseas. His name is Hassan Diab. Your office received a communication on May the 5th, and I'm here with... Well, can you send somebody out? Because the spouse of that gentleman, Rania, is here today. Rania, can you just identify yourself?
My name is Rania Tfaily. I'm the partner of Hassan Diab, and we would like to set an appointment with the Prime Minister to see that, he's acting to bring Hassan back home.
We're asking that you send a representative of the PMO out here with his date book, and we will synchronize our date book so we can get this urgent meeting underway. This is a man who has been ordered released for bail 6 times, and those bail orders have been overturned by the French Court of Appeal. Surely this is a case that calls for the intervention of the Prime Minister. So can you please ask, we'll be out here for another 25 minutes or so we're asking you to send a representative of the staff out to meet with us. Yes? Well, so far there's no response. We will try again. There's got to be somebody up there who is standing up for justice. So, and they've hung up on us. So we'll try again a little bit later.